The clock on the wall showed 6:15 p.m. when he pushed through the glass doors of City Fitness. The familiar smell of rubber mats and the faint scent of cleaning spray greeted him as he nodded to the front desk worker. Another Monday, another workout. Nothing special about today, or so he thought. He signed in, swiped his membership card, and headed straight to the locker room. The day had been long. Teaching history to teenagers wasn't always easy, especially when half the class seemed more interested in their phones than the civil rights movement. The faculty meeting afterward hadn't helped either. Budget cuts again, more standardized testing requirements, less time for actual teaching. His head was full of noise that needed clearing. The locker room was nearly empty. He changed quickly, placing his work clothes neatly in a locker before securing it with the combination lock he'd been using for the past 2 years. The routine was comforting. 3 days a week, rain or shine, he showed up here to sweat away the stress. He walked out to the main gym floor, workout playlist ready, wireless earbuds in place. The evening crowd was starting to filter in, the after-work regulars he recognized by face, if not by name. There was the older guy who always wore the same faded blue cap, the young couple who seemed more focused on each other than their workouts, the group of college students who took turns spotting each other with excessive enthusiasm. He started with his usual warm-up on the treadmill, 10 minutes at a brisk walk that gradually increased to a light jog. His mind began to clear with each step, the rhythm of his feet hitting the belt creating a meditation of sorts. The stack of ungraded papers waiting at home started to feel less overwhelming. The tense exchange with the principal about curriculum changes faded to background noise. After his warm-up, he grabbed his water bottle and towel, making his way to the free weights section. Monday was chest and back day. He had it all planned out: bench press, rows, pull-ups, flies. The familiar routine was like a conversation with an old friend, comfortable, predictable, necessary. He settled on an open bench, adjusting the weight plates to his working level. Not too heavy today, his shoulder had been feeling a bit tight lately, and he didn't want to push it. Smart training meant listening to your body. That was something he'd learned the hard way after an injury last year had kept him out of the gym for nearly a month. The first set always felt the best. His muscles woke up, his breathing found its rhythm, and that satisfying burn started to build. This was his real therapy, more effective than any venting session in the teacher's lounge. Here, progress was measurable. Here, effort directly equaled results. Between his first and second sets, he took a moment to sip some water and glance around the gym. The evening was unfolding as it always did. People focused on their own worlds, their own goals. The basketball court on the far side hosted a small pickup game. The cardio section was filling up with the after-work crowd. The smoothie bar in the corner had its usual line of people treating themselves after their workouts. He lay back down on the bench for his second set, gripping the bar firmly, finding his position. 8 reps, maybe 9 if he pushed himself. He exhaled as he pressed the weight upward, focusing on form over ego. The familiar burn in his chest muscles was building when an unusual sound cut through his music, not the typical gym background noise of clanking weights and whirring treadmills, but something sharper. Laughter, but not the good kind. He paused at the top of his rep, holding the weight steady as he glanced toward the source of the sound. What he saw made him rack the weight immediately. His ordinary Monday workout was about to become anything but routine. He pulled out one earbud to better hear what was happening. The laughter came from the area near the squat racks. 3 guys, all built like they lived at the gym, with sleeveless shirts showing off heavily tattooed arms. At first glance, nothing seemed off. Guys laughing at the gym wasn't unusual. But something in their body language made him pause his workout completely. That's when he noticed her. A woman in gray leggings and a loose blue top, probably in her late 20s. He'd seen her around before, always keeping to herself, focused on her routine. She'd started coming to the gym about a month ago. He remembered noticing her because she had the same determined look he recognized in his first-year students, someone trying something new and pushing through the initial discomfort. But right now, that determination had been replaced by something else, discomfort, maybe even fear. The 3 guys had formed a half circle around her, blocking her path to the water fountain. One of them, the tallest with a backward cap, was saying something that made the others burst into laughter again. The woman's face had turned a deep shade of red. She clutched her phone tightly, looking down at the floor. He set his towel aside and stood up from the bench, pretending to get more water while moving closer to hear what was happening. "Come on, let us show you how it's really done," said the guy with the cap. "Your form is all wrong. We're just trying to help." "I'm fine, thanks," the woman replied, her voice barely audible. "I've been working with a trainer." "A trainer?" scoffed another one, this guy with a sleeve of tattoos down his right arm. "Those guys just take your money. We'll give you free advice." He flexed dramatically, causing his friends to snicker. The third guy, shorter but wider than the others, had his phone out. "Let's record your next stat so you can see what we're talking about." The woman shook her head. "No, please don't record me. I'd rather not." But Tattoo Guy had already grabbed one of the lighter barbells. "Here, show us that squat again." His tone made it clear this wasn't about helping. The woman tried to step around them. "I'm actually finished with that part of my workout." Cap Guy moved to block her path. "Don't be like that. We're just being friendly." He watched as the woman's eyes darted around, looking for help. The front desk staff was busy with a line of new people signing up for memberships. The trainers were all occupied with clients on the other side of the gym. That's when the third guy, the one with the phone, did something that made his decision clear. As the woman reached for her water bottle on a nearby bench, Phone Guy snatched her phone that was lying next to it. "Let's see what music you work out to," Phone Guy said, holding it just out of her reach when she tried to grab it back. "Please give that back," she said, her voice cracking slightly. The three guys laughed again, but there was nothing friendly about it. This wasn't playful gym banter. This was harassment, plain and simple. He felt a familiar tightness in his chest, not from the bench press, but from a decision that needed to be made. He knew he should do something. But he also knew that as a black man, stepping into confrontations carried different risks. He'd been in situations before where trying to help had backfired, where his presence had been seen as threatening rather than helpful. The woman made another attempt to get her phone back, almost stumbling as Cap Guy pretended to hand it over, then pulled it back at the last second. Her eyes were glistening now, either from frustration or held back tears. That was it. Decision made. He put his other earbud away, took a deep breath, and started walking toward the group. Whatever happened next, he couldn't just stand by and watch. Not today. Not anymore. His heart pounded as he approached the group, each step feeling heavier than the last. This wasn't the first time he'd seen something like this. As a high school teacher, he'd broken up plenty of hallway conflicts, but this was different. Here, he wasn't wearing his teacher badge. Here, people didn't know him. Time seemed to slow as memories flashed through his mind. 2 years ago, he'd stepped in when he saw a store clerk following a teenage boy around a convenience store. The clerk had immediately turned on him instead, asking if they knew each other, implying they were working together. The manager had asked them both to leave. 6 months before that, he'd helped an elderly woman who had fallen near a parking lot, only to have her clutch her purse tighter when he reached out his hand. The look of fear in her eyes had stayed with him for weeks. These memories weren't unique to him. They were shared experiences, unspoken realities that shaped how he moved through the world. Every black man he knew had similar stories, times when trying to help had somehow made them the threat. He slowed his pace slightly. Maybe he should just tell the front desk staff. Let them handle it. That would be the safer choice. But the woman was now backed against the wall, the three guys still laughing as they passed her phone between them. One was scrolling through it, while another appeared to be taking photos of the screen with his own phone. The woman's face showed a mix of anger and helplessness that made his chest tighten. No, not this time. He couldn't walk away. He took a deep breath and remembered advice from his father. Stand straight, speak clearly, move deliberately, never let them see you lose control. His father had given him these instructions when he was just 12 years old, not as general life advice, but as specific survival tactics for a black man in America. Every confrontation carried extra weight, extra risk. Every word and gesture would be scrutinized differently. He quickly scanned the area, noting who was watching. An older couple on the treadmills had noticed the situation and were frowning but doing nothing. 2 guys by the dumbbells were looking over occasionally between sets. A gym staff member was busy helping someone with a machine on the far side of the room. If things went wrong, who would see what actually happened? Who would remember it accurately? These calculations happened in seconds, an automatic risk assessment burned into his consciousness through years of experience. It wasn't fear exactly, but awareness, necessary awareness. He walked closer, now just a few feet away from the group. None of them had noticed him yet, too caught up in their harassment of the woman. He could still turn back. Instead, he cleared his throat loudly. The three guys turned around, surprise flashing across their faces at the interruption. The woman looked up, her expression shifting from distress to something like cautious hope. "Hey," Cap Guy said, recovering quickly. "You need something, bro?" He met the man's eyes directly. "I think you guys need to give the lady her phone back and let her continue her workout." His voice came out calmer than he expected, given how fast his heart was beating. He kept his hands visible at his sides, his stance open but firm. Tattoo Guy stepped forward slightly. "We're just having a conversation here. Everything's cool." "Doesn't look cool to me," he replied. "Looks like harassment." Phone Guy snorted. "Man, mind your own business. We're just playing around." He looked directly at the woman. "Is that true? Are you okay with what's happening here?" There was a moment of tense silence as everyone waited for her answer. The woman straightened her shoulders slightly, finding her voice. "No," she said firmly. "I'm not okay with it. I want my phone back, and I want to be left alone." And just like that, the dynamic shifted. The moment of truth had arrived, and there was no turning back now. The three guys exchanged glances, their smug grins fading slightly. Cap Guy stepped forward, squaring his shoulders. "Look, man, we're just having some fun," he said, lowering his voice. "No need to make this a big deal." "It becomes a big deal when someone tells you to stop and you don't," he replied, keeping his tone even. "She's asked for her phone back. That should be the end of it." People were starting to notice now. A few nearby gym-goers had paused their workouts to watch. An older man with gray hair had stopped his rowing machine and was openly staring. "Who do you think you are anyway?" Phone Guy asked, still holding the woman's phone. "Her boyfriend or something?" "I'm just someone who doesn't like seeing people harassed at my gym." He emphasized the word "my," a small reminder that he belonged here too. This is supposed to be a place where everyone can work out in peace. Tattoo Guy stepped closer, using his height to try to intimidate. "You calling us harassers? We were just joking around." "I'm saying that when someone asks you to stop and you don't stop, that's harassment." He stood his ground, maintaining eye contact. "It doesn't matter what you call it." The woman had moved slightly to the side, no longer backed against the wall. Her eyes darted between him and the guys, likely wondering if her situation was about to get better or worse. "Just give her the phone back," he said, gesturing toward Phone Guy, but keeping his focus on Cap Guy, who seemed to be the leader. "Then everybody can get back to their workouts." "And if we don't?" Cap Guy challenged, crossing his arms. "What then? You gotta make us." This was the moment he'd been worried about, the escalation. Fighting wasn't an option. As a teacher, he could lose his job. As a black man, he could lose much more if things went wrong. "I'm not here to fight," he said calmly. "But I am here to make sure the gym rules about harassment are followed." He glanced pointedly toward the front desk. "I'm sure the management would be interested to know what's happening here." The mention of management caused a subtle shift in their posture. Cap Guy uncrossed his arms. "Look, we pay good money to be members here," Tattoo Guy said. "We don't need trouble." "Neither does she," he replied, nodding toward the woman. "So let's all agree to respect each other's space, and this doesn't have to go any further." A small crowd had gathered now, their presence working in his favor. Public scrutiny was a powerful tool. Phone Guy looked uncomfortable with the attention, shifting from foot to foot. "This is stupid," Phone Guy muttered, finally holding out the woman's phone toward her. "Here, we were done anyway." The woman quickly stepped forward and took her phone, checking it briefly before slipping it into her pocket. The relief on her face was visible, but she still looked tense, ready for things to take another bad turn. "Thank you," she said quietly, moving to stand slightly behind him. Cap Guy wasn't ready to back down completely. "You happy now, hero? Got to show off for everyone?" He shook his head. "This isn't about showing off. It's about basic respect." "Whatever, man," Cap Guy scoffed. "Let's go, guys. This place is getting too crowded anyway." The three started to move away, But Cap Guy turned back suddenly, pointing a finger. "We're not done here. You should mind your own business next time." The threat hung in the air, not explicit enough for others to recognize it, but clear enough in its intention. He'd faced similar threats before, in school hallways, on the street, in stores. The unspoken promise of future consequences. He didn't respond to the threat. Instead, he turned to the woman. "Are you okay?" She nodded, still clutching her phone tightly. "Yes, thank you." But he knew from the glare Cap Guy gave him as they walked away that this confrontation was far from over. The three guys moved to the other side of the gym, gathering their things while shooting glares in his direction. He kept his eyes on them, aware that conflicts like this often reignited when you least expected it. "I should probably tell someone at the front desk what happened," the woman said, her voice steadier now. "Those guys have bothered other women here too. My friend quit coming because of them." He nodded. "That's a good idea. I'll walk with you if you want." As they headed toward the front desk, he felt eyes on him from around the gym. An older woman on an exercise bike gave him a thumbs up. A guy about his age nodded with approval, but not everyone's reaction was positive. A middle-aged man near the water fountain was frowning, as if the confrontation had somehow disturbed his workout more than the harassment had. That was always how it went. Stand up against bad behavior, and some people would blame you for causing a scene rather than the ones who started it. The woman at the front desk looked up from her computer as they approached. She had bright red hair pulled back in a ponytail and a name tag he couldn't quite read from where he stood. "Everything okay?" she asked, clearly having noticed the earlier tension. "Not really," the woman said. "Those three guys over there were harassing me. They took my phone and wouldn't give it back. They were recording me without permission too." The desk worker's friendly expression hardened. "The guys in the corner, with the baseball cap and tattoos?" "Yes," he confirmed. "They've apparently been bothering other women here too." The desk worker sighed. "We've had complaints before, but nothing specific enough to take action on. This time, I need to file an incident report. Could you both give me details of what happened?" While the woman explained the situation, he kept an eye on the three guys. They were still watching, huddled together by the exit door, talking among themselves. Cap Guy was gesturing angrily in his direction. "Sir," the desk worker's voice pulled his attention back. "Could I get your account of what happened as well?" For the report. He described what he'd seen and how he'd intervened, keeping his explanation straightforward and factual. "Thank you both," the desk worker said when he finished. "We take harassment very seriously here. I'm going to speak with the manager, and he'll probably want to review the security footage. We might need to contact you both again." The woman nodded, looking relieved that action was being taken, but as they turned to leave the desk, he noticed the three guys had disappeared. The exit door was swinging shut. "They left," he said, feeling a mix of relief and unease. "Good riddance," the woman replied. Then, extending her hand, she added, "I'm really grateful for your help. Most people would have just looked away." He shook her hand. "I wish that wasn't true, but I know it is." "I was actually thinking about quitting this gym because of them," she admitted. "They've made comments before, but never went this far until today." "Well, I hope you don't quit," he said. "The gym should be getting rid of them, not you." A few minutes later, after making sure she was okay to continue her workout, he returned to his bench. His heart rate had finally slowed back to normal, and the adrenaline was wearing off, leaving him feeling slightly drained. As he picked up his water bottle, he glanced toward the entrance. Through the glass doors, he could see the parking lot, and all three guys standing next to a black pickup truck, staring back at the gym. Cap Guy pointed in his direction, saying something to the others. He turned away, trying to focus on finishing his workout. But a nagging feeling told him this wasn't over. Those guys knew what gym he went to. They knew his routine. They'd seen his face clearly. Standing up for what was right had felt good in the moment. Now he wondered what price he might pay for it. 3 days passed before he returned to the gym. Not because he was afraid, but because life got in the way. A stack of essays to grade, a faculty meeting that ran late, and a rainstorm that flooded his street and made driving anywhere a hassle. When he finally pushed through those familiar glass doors on Thursday evening, he found himself scanning the room automatically. No sign of Cap Guy or his friends. He breathed a little easier but kept his guard up as he signed in. "Hey there," called the front desk worker with the red ponytail. "Got a minute?" He walked over, wondering if there was a problem with his membership. "The manager wanted me to let you know when you came in," she said, lowering her voice slightly. "Those 3 guys from Monday. They've been suspended pending review. The manager saw the security footage and called them yesterday." "That's good to hear," he said, genuinely surprised. "Too often, complaints like this got filed away and forgotten." "The woman you helped has been back every day," the desk worker added. "She said to tell you thanks again if we saw you." He nodded, feeling a weight lift that he hadn't realized he was carrying. Maybe sometimes doing the right thing actually worked out. As he changed in the locker room, his phone buzzed with a text from his buddy who taught math at the same school, still on for pickup ball Saturday. Normal life continuing, just as it should. His workout felt better than it had in weeks. Each rep seemed easier, his focus sharper. Halfway through his routine, he noticed the woman entering the gym. She spotted him and waved, then headed to the cardio section. Later, as he was refilling his water bottle, she came over. "Heard they got suspended," she said, a small smile on her face. "Yeah, the front desk just told me. I'm glad they took it seriously." She nodded. "I've been telling everyone what happened." A couple other women came forward with similar stories after I shared mine. "That's good," he said. "Strength in numbers." "Some of us are thinking about starting a little workout group," she continued. "Safety in numbers too, you know? Nothing formal, just showing up at the same time, watching each other's backs." "Smart idea," he replied. "Gym should be a safe space for everyone." Their conversation was interrupted by the arrival of the gym manager, a stocky guy with a close-cropped beard who introduced himself with a firm handshake. "Wanted to thank you personally," the manager said. "We've apparently had an issue brewing for a while, but nobody wanted to be the first to make an official complaint." "Just did what anyone should do," he answered, uncomfortable with being singled out as some kind of hero. "Well, not everyone would," the manager said pointedly. "Anyway, I wanted to let you both know that those members won't be coming back. We've terminated their memberships permanently." "All 3 of them?" the woman asked, sounding surprised. The manager nodded. The security footage was pretty clear. "And once we started asking around, turns out they'd been problems for months. Honestly, I should have acted sooner." After the manager left, he finished his workout with a sense of satisfaction. The right thing had happened. Justice, small but real, had been served. As he was leaving the gym that evening, he noticed something different. People were nodding to him, making eye contact, offering small smiles of recognition. The older woman from the exercise bike gave him a thumbs up again. The guy from the free weights area fist bumped him on the way out. In the parking lot, he paused to check his phone before driving home. A text from an unknown number appeared on his screen. "This isn't over." His stomach tightened as he looked around the dimly lit lot, suddenly aware of how alone he was. Then another text arrived from the same number. "Sorry, wrong person," followed by "my bad." He shook his head, half smiling at his own paranoia. Not every unknown number was a threat. Not every shadow held danger. Sometimes doing the right thing just worked out. And sometimes a gym could become a little more like a community, one small stand at a time. 2 weeks passed, and the gym had changed in small but noticeable ways. Signs had appeared on the walls stating "respect all members" and "report harassment immediately." The front desk now always had someone there, even during the busiest hours when they used to be short-staffed. He settled into his bench press routine, feeling at home in a way he hadn't before. His Monday, Wednesday, Friday schedule remained the same, but the environment felt different. Lighter somehow. The workout group the woman had mentioned had actually formed. About 8 people, mostly women, but a couple of men too, who showed up around the same time and kept an eye out for each other. They weren't all friends exactly, just people who nodded hello and made sure everyone felt comfortable. Today, as he finished his 3rd set, he noticed a new face hovering near the free weights section. A young woman, probably college-aged, clutching a piece of paper that looked like a workout plan. She kept glancing at different equipment, clearly unsure where to start. He remembered his first day at a gym years ago, that feeling of being completely lost, afraid to look foolish by using the equipment wrong. He'd eventually figured it out through trial and error. but it had taken weeks of feeling out of place. After racking his weights, he grabbed his towel and walked over. "First time?" he asked with a friendly smile. She looked up, relief visible on her face. "That obvious, huh?" "To someone who's been there," he said. "That workout plan from the trainers here." She nodded. "They gave me this during my sign-up, but I have no idea what half of these machines even are." "Mind if I point you in the right direction?" For the next few minutes, he showed her where to find each piece of equipment on her list, demonstrated proper form for a few basic exercises, and suggested which staff members were most helpful for beginners. "Thanks so much," she said when they finished. "I was about ready to give up and go home." "Gyms can be intimidating at first," he replied, "but everyone starts somewhere." As he returned to his own workout, he noticed the woman he'd helped with the bullies watching from the cardio section. She gave him a thumbs up and a smile that said she'd seen what he did. Later, as he was filling his water bottle, she came over. "Paying it forward, I see," she said. He shrugged. "Just being decent." "Well, decent people are worth keeping around." She paused. "Some of us are grabbing smoothies after our workouts on Fridays. You should join us this week." "I might do that," he said, surprised at the invitation. On his way out that evening, the red-haired desk worker called him over again. "The manager wanted me to give you this," she said, handing him an envelope. Inside was a letter thanking him for exemplifying the values of our community and a card offering 3 months of membership for free. The letter wasn't just a form. The manager had handwritten a note at the bottom. "What happened that day sparked something important here. More people are looking out for each other. More people are speaking up. Thank you for being the first." As he drove home, he thought about how one moment of decision could create ripples that spread far beyond what you could see at the time. Standing up to those guys hadn't been about being a hero. It had been about refusing to look away when someone needed help. The next day at school, he told his history students about a quote he'd recently rediscovered. "The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good people to do nothing." A student in the back raised her hand. "But isn't it dangerous to stand up sometimes?" "What if you get hurt?" "Yes," he answered honestly. "Sometimes it is dangerous. Sometimes there's a cost." "Then why do it?" another student asked. He thought about the small community forming at the gym, about the new signs on the walls, about the young woman who hadn't given up on her first day. "Because the cost of doing nothing is even higher," he said, "not just for others, but for who we become when we choose to look away."